Greetings, everyone, Chicago. My name is Dr. Brenda Marie Dixon, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Major Taylor Trail Keepers Chicago, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving the well-being of neighborhoods on the Chicago Southside. Sitting next to me is First Lady Monica Moss from Trinity United Church and the Greater Food Depository, but I'll introduce her in a minute. I want to give my standard background information that I will share at the beginning of each of our monthly shows. So let me tell you just a little bit about the Major Taylor Trail Keepers. And Lady Monica, I know you're familiar with our organization already, but we're an Illinois not-for-profit organization created to improve the lives of individuals and families residing in historically underserved neighborhoods by working to make our communities a fun, healthy, safe place to live, work, and play. We were initially founded back in 2017 by myself and two sons, and then we expanded our board in 2019 to include more people from the community and other cyclists. The Major Taylor Trail, and if you can show the map of the trail, it is currently the only trail in the United States named after Walter Marshall Major Taylor, who was an African-American cyclist and the first African-American world sports champion. You can take the map down. I'll have you pull it up again in a few minutes. He's the first African-American world sports champion. He won the 1-mile race on August 10th, 1899 in Montreal. He did this during a time at the height of the Jim Crow era. Almost all of our African-American firsts stand on his shoulders without even realizing it. It's also a trail that runs from north to south through the heart of the South Side. Can you pull up the map again? It runs through 4 different wards, starting at Dan Ryan Woods, right near 83rd and Western, and it actually ends down in Riverdale at Whistler Woods and goes over the Little Calumet River. You can take it down now. So last month we were on the trail and talked about the history of the trail. This month, we're coming off the trail, and we're going to go into the community and talk about one of the issues in our community that is near and dear to my heart. It's the fact that the south end of our trail runs through what is called a food desert. And I'm going to ask Lady Monica, who's the expert on this topic, to define that for us. But I first want to introduce who Lady Monica is, this amazing woman sitting next to me. Lady Monica is, actually, let me not call her Lady Monica. That's what I call her because I know her. She's the first lady of my church, so she's my first lady. So let me go formal. Monica Brown Moss. She's committed to designing sustainable pathways to health and wellness for God's people. As the First Lady of Trinity United Church of Christ, Lady Monica is deeply engaged in advocating for access to healthy food and making connections between foods we eat and our overall health outcomes. She's especially interested in the systemic factors that prohibit access and impede agency for vibrant, healthy, and empowered living. Lady Monica received her Bachelor of Arts degree from Spelman College and Columbia University Teachers College, where she attained a Master's of Arts. Lady Monica returned to school working on her Master's of Theological Studies program at McCormick Seminary. That's where she's currently enrolled. Okay, just making sure I got it right. This is the only part that I'll read. I don't want to ever mess up anyone's intro or bio. Lady Monica also serves on the board of directors for the Greater Chicago Food Depository and American Heart Association Metro Board. She is also a member of the First Lady's Health Initiative. For nearly 3 decades, Lady Monica has served in ministry with her husband, the Reverend Dr. Otis Moss III, and for 17 of those years, they have had the privilege to pastor the Trinity United Church of Christ, which is my home church, located on the south side of Chicago. Okay, I'm done with the script now. So, with that being said, before we really dive into our topic, Lady Monica, of the fact that the south end of that trail it's in a food desert. Can you define for us what exactly is a food desert from an anecdotal standpoint? What is a food desert? What are we really talking about today?
Well, first let me thank you, Dr. Brenda Dixon, for allowing me to be a guest on your show. Okay. I'm really, really proud of you. And I don't even know if you will remember this, but I remember when you started riding bikes, and I remember you invited me to go with you, and I thought I'd be able to do it, and haven't done it.
Not
but
yet.
I promise you I will.
All right, I'm gonna hold. Oh, we got this on camera. I'm gonna hold you to that, Lady Monica. I'm gonna hold you to that bike ride now, girl.
But it's just absolutely amazing to see what you have done. You took a vision and you brought it to life, and the work that you've done to elevate Major Taylor in this city and across this nation is absolutely amazing. And I'm really proud of you, and it's exciting to see that work.
Thank you. That means so much for coming from you. You're going to get me teary-eyed.
Well, don't cry, because we've got to get through this show.
Okay, all right.
But it is exciting, the work that you do, because it's meaningful. Yes. And now that you are doing this show, you have a platform to lift up topics like the one we're talking about tonight, which is so very important, because it has the potential to impact any of us, all of us at any time, because access to food, especially healthy food, is a real issue for so many people. You mentioned when you were in the intro, you were talking about that communities deserve the opportunity to thrive. That means that people within the community, they deserve an opportunity to have access to all of the benefits, all of the access to the things that allow us to flourish in life. And really, when you ask what is a food desert, it's when it's a term that is probably very familiar to your viewership, but it also is a term that I think needs to be tweaked a little bit. Okay. Because a food desert is a place. It's a geographical location. We can talk about a rural area or an urban area where there is a lack of access to healthy food. Okay. So we could get into the numbers about like how far you have to go to a grocery store, or how many stores, or what types of stores. But the way we see it played out, especially in a city like Chicago, especially on the South Side, especially near the Major Taylor Trail, is we see places where people have to go a far distance. Many times they don't have access to cars. They're inhibited by transportation. They have to take buses. And we all know when we go to the grocery store, you come out with 5 or 6 bags. That's really hard to take on a bus.
Oh yeah, and if when we have our cleanup days, sometimes we're out there on the trail, and if you're out on the trail more than say 2 hours doing any type of activity, you'll see people walking along the trail to the nearest grocery store, which isn't even a full service grocery store. The Aldi's at 115th, and they're carrying bags. But you talked about the numbers. We do have some stats, because I did a little. I'm a researcher by trade. So can you pull up can you show the map that the city provided us of food desert? Now, on this map, if you're able to zoom in, that would be helpful. You don't have to go too far in, but let me first describe what you're looking at. On this map provided to us by the city of Chicago, this represents the percentage of residents that are more than a half a mile away from a full-service grocery store, and in communities where there's more fast food, low-quality places to buy junk food than there are grocery stores. And you can see the bottom where it's very dark, that's where it's 90, I think it was 94%. Then you go to if you go immediately to, I don't know if that's your right or left, but to the West Pullman area where it's a little lighter. Okay, you can just stay right there. You don't need to move the map for me. Just go up and leave it there. It's about 60%. You go to the Washington Heights area, it's 64%. It doesn't get light blue until you're out of the Major Taylor community, which is the Auburn Gresham area. So we do have the stats that, and that's how the city of Chicago is defining it. It's a half a mile or more. When you go to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, their site, they define it as a mile or more unless you have the combination of low income and poverty.
Right. And that's what, if you looked at that map, you could overlay that map with any of the other health disparities, low income housing, crime, all of it looks almost exactly like that map. And that is an issue because, like you said, it's not only a lack of access to retail food, but it's also what food is available.
What is available. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the reason I've asked you here, because I know you're an expert in this area, I want to, before we talk about what we can do going forward and what has been done, Lady Monica, how did we get here?
Oh my goodness.
Like how we're in the wealthiest, supposedly one of the wealthiest nations in the world.
Right.
We're in one of the largest cities in the United States.
Right.
How did we get to where we are?
That's a great question, and it's also one that's I guess it's very complicated in some ways. In other ways, it's pretty direct. We know that we live in a very segregated city, intentionally so.
Yeah.
We could track historically how African Americans were segregated to certain portions of this city, and they've always been marginalized and kept out of the they've been disenfranchised in this city. So
mainstream.
Absolutely. So access to jobs and like what we were talking about earlier, the things that allow us to thrive in life, even transportation. Mm-hmm. When you think about the Red Line, if you look at how this city was divided by transportation and where people are, where they're forced to live almost, and at one point we're definitely forced to live. So and then you think about Major Taylor when he was around.
Oh my God, yeah.
Here this black man was who was groundbreaking at a time when there were so many limitations toward for black people to have advancement in society. But then you think about the black people who migrated here from the South looking for a better life, looking for job opportunities, and they had to make do with where they landed. And so I think that in many respects what we're seeing is the vestiges of racism and poverty, of systematic and structural racism. And so that all feeds into how we get to this point.
And I remember, so I can't quote or give a citation, but I can remember doing some research on another topic maybe 10 or 15 years ago where Chicago was actually listed as the most segregated city in the United States.
Yes.
And when you were giving that response, it just made me think of just the way our city, the migration, it was the flight to the north from the south, where people landed. And I think I had heard another stat where I had ran across another statistic. I don't remember the numbers, but in the communities on the south side, where there are predominantly black and brown communities, someone was telling me that the viaducts are lower, whereas shipments they have a harder time even getting really into the heart of the community. Whereas if you go in other parts of the community, when they designed the communities, they were designed for shipments to come in. And then you were talking about inequities in transportation. I wish I had them with the bike map of Chicago, the city of Chicago. I'll make sure we pull that up on one of the months when we're back on the trail. If you were to look at a bike map of the city of Chicago, you'll see all of this color on the north side of Chicago. Very little infrastructure for cycling, protected bike lanes on the south side. So we kind of understand how we have gotten here. What's being done? Like, what have you and some of the organizations that you're affiliated with, what are some of the work? Can you talk about what you all have done to try to eradicate this? Because obviously you've been aware of this problem.
Right. Well, one of the things is, as a board member of the Greater Chicago Food Depository, we have a mission statement that's very simple, and it's to end hunger.
Okay.
Now, that's also a huge undertaking, and so the Food Depository works very, very hard to make sure that we are getting food out into community, but it's not. It's also in partnership with community.
Okay.
So it's not about just the Food Depository coming in and saying, "Here, community, you take what we give you." It's about providing food that is culturally relevant, healthy food, a commitment to really healthy food, but also partnering with communities so that you are involving people to make sure we're able to get food out into community. So one of the biggest projects at the Food Depository right now is a prepared meals facility. Okay. So the Food Depository is working with all types of BIPOC and especially with African American and black and brown businesses and women-owned businesses to make sure that we are able to use them as vendors, but also we are investing in community and creating beautiful markets. And so I wish we had a picture of some of the markets that are coming up, because you notice I'm saying markets and not just pantries.
Yes.
These are full-service marketplaces where people can come within their own community, go to these beautiful places that are beautiful to look at. They can get enrolled in benefits. They can also, it's free food, but it's also with dignity. And that's a big part of this. It's not about just you take what we give you. It's about what would you like. So they're client-centered, client choice, beautiful markets, and our church is actually, we're going to have one as well. So the Sankofa market will be coming online very, very soon. But in the meantime, there's so many things we've been doing for years. We've had a farmers market. And this farmers market was just, it is nice. It's really nice to go. You get to know the farmers. We've been working with black farmers from Pembroke, from Pembroke and Black Oaks, and we've been working with them for years now. Of course, like many other things, the pandemic interrupted some of that. But we were back online this fall and just really working. And so it's really nice when you know where your watermelon came from, or your soup, or your shea butter, or those squash, or your pumpkins for Halloween, all those things. It's really important that we build those relationships. So a farmer's market, a wonderful food marketplace, but we also do a lot of food education. So we have a George Washington Carver organic garden, where it's not only a place for you to get food, but it's also an educational garden.
And where's this garden?
It's right off 95th Street, right by Trinity.
I know. I got to ask for our viewers to know.
It's really a beautiful place. It's like a little oasis. But we also have a ministry at church called Big Mama's House.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Big Mama's.
That's where I learned how to cook.
I'm telling you, Big Mama's House is the bomb, because Big Mama's House was designed to teach you everything that Grandma used to teach you. So it was, how do you can food? How do you preserve food? How do you just cook food?
Even just how to shop. I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but one of my first interactions with you was way back in, I think, 2013. I don't remember what year it was. And part of me is ashamed that I was 40-something, and only greens that I knew about really was the collard greens that my mama cooked. And you took me, I don't know if you remember, but you actually took me on a grocery shopping tour of Country Market, and you walked through the grocery store with me, and you showed me all the different foods and what they were. And I'm still benefiting. That changed my life, just the education, because people tend to continue to do what their parents did. You continue to eat the food that your parents ate, and I had not ever been really exposed. And that all started with Big Mama's House, and then I run into you, and I'm like, oh, you're doing education counseling? Yeah. So I hope you didn't mind me sharing that.
No, I don't mind, because
you hold a special place in my heart, because that time you spent educating me, and the time that I spent in Big Mama's House learning about foods, learning the healthy ways to prepare foods. It changed my whole palate in eating, and I've been on that healthy journey ever since.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I
know we digress. No, I'm sorry, but anyway.
But Brenda, you hit on such a valuable point, because one of the things that we do is we do what we've been taught. And so what the idea around food and eating well and living well and thriving, and when people are healthy and happy in their communities are better, and violence goes down, and schools can be better. All of these things that we know, all connected, because food brings us together. We gather around a table. So I believe in building bigger tables, and the way we do that is by educating people about how do we eat food, but you have to have it available. So one of the things that we really focus on is, how do we cook? So if you get we could have a beautiful pan of beans here, but if you don't know how to, or peas, if you don't know how to shell them, what do we do with them? So I think it's kind of a return to the way things maybe used to be in the past, but we can do it in a different way that makes sense now.
Will we ever go back to that? Because I had forgotten about Big Mama's House, because since the pandemic we haven't had those cooking demonstrations. But will we ever be able to go back and return to that? But those were just so powerful and helpful. The Saturday morning, and here's how you make greens without any pork, and they still taste good. Oh,
and they still taste good.
And I saw the timer just came up, so I have one more question that I want to get to, but I want to make sure that is there anything else that any of the organizations or ministries that you're a part of are doing towards helping eradicate or at least improve the quality of food that's available to the greater Major Taylor Trail area?
Well, there are so many great organizations in the city doing amazing work, from community gardens to, food hubs. All types of really good work is going on. It's just a matter of educating yourself about it and finding it. But what we're doing, and is at Trinity, we are really invested in trying to get healthy food into community. However, also, I would say that taking care of the body is another big part of this. So the American Heart Association is huge about lowering our hypertension rates in our community, knowing your numbers, and then of course we're just making sure that you take care of the temple that God has given to us. And so
So what are some things, this will be the, I promise, last question. What are some of the things that we can do, or that our viewers can do to get involved with either helping improve the quality of food available in those areas that were high, just a large percentage of the population does not have access? What are some things that we can do moving forward as either individuals or organizations? What can we do?
Yeah. So I think that 3 A's: awareness. Okay. So making sure that you even know what's going on in your community. Making sure that you educate yourself about, how do I take better care of myself? What's available in my community? What types of hospitals? What types of grocery stores? What is in my community? So learning. Advocacy. Get out there, raise your voice, talk to the politicians, your alder people, your aldermen, your alder women. Talk to people and let them know what you feel like is important for your community, because it's not about outsiders coming in and telling you what to do. It's about you making decisions for your own community. It's you have the answers to your own, and you have the solutions to your own issues. And then the last thing is take action. Get out there, volunteer, go and give of your time, give of your money if you have that. Give of yourself to give somebody a smile even, just be kind, but know that your actions, your advocacy, and your awareness makes all the difference. And just be there. Be there. Try a new recipe every once in a while. But also be aware of what neighbors need help. Are there elder people in your neighborhoods who don't have access to food? People with disabilities oftentimes. They have problems accessing food. So I guess it means that you have to talk to one another.
Talk to each other. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know you mentioned the Trinity United Church of Christ. No bias here. I mean, that is my church too. But where is that? Where is Trinity United Church of Christ located? Like, if someone was wanting to come there and get involved in some of the ministries, Big Mama's House or the Food Depository, where's Trinity United Church located?
Trinity is at 400 West 95th Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60628.
All right.
It's right off near the Dan Ryan's, the red line stop, 95th and the Dan Ryan. And so we are there every Sunday. We do a lot of amazing things, and I'm biased. I am too.
Okay, and in fairness, so where is one of the locations of the Greater Food Depository if someone was looking for that?
Well, every first Friday at the corner of Cottage Grove and 95th Street, we do food distribution starting at 10 a.m. every first Friday. And we have amazing food. Sometimes we have clothing items. We have a lot of different opportunities for people from the community.
95th and Cottage Grove.
95th and
first
Cottage
Friday
Grove. Yes.
of every month at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So I want to thank you, Lady Monica, for taking I know how busy your schedule is, but taking the time out to give attention to this topic that is plagues our community. And we may have to have you come back again when the farmers market opens up, and we got 1 minute left. So I thank Lady Monica. I want to thank our viewers for tuning in. Please tune in next month, second Thursday of each month. Next month we'll be back on the trail, and we'll be interviewing Peter Taylor, who is the president of the Friends of the Major Taylor Trail, and he's the vice president for the Major Taylor Trail Keepers, and Keith Holt, who's one of the founding members of the Chicago Major Taylor Chicago Cycling Club, and he is also one of the members that was very involved with the development of the trail. So we'll talk more about the history of the trail and what the current needs are. So again, I want to thank all of our viewers for tuning in, and thank you so much, Lady Monica. Thank you. Okay, I think that's a wrap.